Hi, Jesse, and thank you so much for being part of the interview and taking the time. So I'm really happy to have you here because I find you are a really inspiring person. So would you like to introduce yourself to those watching and listening?
Of course, Lisa, it's great to connect with you as always. My name is Jesse Terranova. I'm originally from the States. I grew up in New Jersey and now I actually live in Portugal, which is where Lisa and I met in the Algarve, the beautiful sunny Algarve. And the last few years, I've been working as a luxury travel advisor, focusing primarily on putting together these amazing and captivating experiences for my clients, whether that may be for couples or families or corporate travel. And during COVID, I decided to take the time to get really clear on my brand and what it is I want to do, why I want to do it. And, the how I'm going to do it has come organically through intuition and through learning and through speaking with other people and seeking some amazing information and wisdom from others. And through that process, I've decided to launch an amazing platform, essentially utilizing travel as a vehicle to help individuals improve their lives. And so it's a concept where we'll take groups of 8 to 10 people on experiences around the world. Personally, I've been to over 40 countries, and I have a team built around me that also has extensive travel experience. And so we'll take individuals on this journey through themselves with others, and obviously the world around them to help enrich their lives and guide them and help to gain a lot of value in these experiences by doing so. So that's kind of where I'm placed at right now and what I'm building and growing. And it's been a really exciting journey thus far.
Yeah, well, as you know, I find it really amazing what your plans are with your business. So like what I would really love to know is, because I'm sure there are so many listening, since I have a business and I have a community with so many people who have a business or who want to start their own business. Like, how did you actually find the courage to launch a new business and move abroad at the same time? So how did you find the courage to do that?
Well, I think the courage lies in just taking the action. It's definitely not an easy thing to do. And everything kind of happened all at once. So it was an interesting time in my life where I didn't have anything figured out, right? And so I said to myself, well, I can look at that as a negative, as something that's going to hold me back and hold me down. But instead I looked at it as a positive, like, wow, this is amazing. I get to create each and every aspect of my life from scratch, organically, with the experiences that I've had in the past. And so, with an amazing support system of people around me, I've been able to propel myself forward and kind of realize my dreams and be on the journey of self-discovery, creating meaning in the relationship with myself, others, and the world around me. And my philosophy is, if you can do that, if you can figure out those 3 components of life, if you can create meaning with yourself, others, and the world around you, and I think you have it figured out. And so there's so much fear attached to these decisions that we all make on a daily basis, and it could be from the little decisions to the big decisions, and the choices will dictate where you are on your path. And essentially, there's so many things that are holding people back, and we can go into that. But for me personally, to answer your question, I think, it's just something that I've always really wanted to do. And I feel like when I'm in a job stuck and stagnant and, my beliefs and my passions aren't aligned with my actions, then I'm not reaching my full potential. And we all have a reservoir of untapped potential in us. And I think it's up to us individually to tap into that. And so, yeah, it's not an easy journey, but you have to commit to that path, take action. And, for me, I just kind of dove right into it head first. And I understand that may not work for a lot of people. I know it sometimes works for you. I know we talked about this, but little baby steps also, as long as you're moving forward in the right direction of where you essentially want to go. It doesn't need to be a drastic change, but as long as you start exploring and having those conversations, I think that's a really good place to start.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I even find that also probably patience is also something that it teaches us, like if we follow our own journey, like you said, like the small steps, they count already so much. And so I think it's also about maybe looking back how far you have already come, instead of only like kind of punishing yourself you're not already exactly where you want to be. um, so is there also like, was there a certain time or point in your life where you said, okay, that's it now, I'm gonna start my own business? Was there a certain happening, like event that happened or so, why you actually said, okay, now I'm actually gonna do it, now I will start my own business?
Yeah, I think you reach a point where you're just so unfulfilled, and all of these passions just lying dormant inside of you. And sometimes it takes rock bottom for us to really realize who our true friends are, who our support systems really are, what building character really looks like, what resilience looks like, and determination. And when you hit rock bottom, you have a better sense of gratitude for what you do have. And for me personally, through my journey, going through the difficult times, the challenges, the obstacles, that's where I gained the most insight and the most, I'd say the most lessons. I've learned a lot of different types of lessons by going through these struggles. And, I think you kind of just have to face the facts that some people may not be cut out for the 9 to 5 grind, or, aren't willing to kind of give their life up for that. And I'm sorry. And so it's interesting to look at how those experiences shape you over time. But I think as a whole, it's really important to just focus on what it is that you essentially want to get to, and then just don't give up for that dream that you have. Don't listen to the people telling you can't do it, the societal norms, whatever conditions and limitations that you have in your life, and to just kind of go for that. And I think I was just kind of fed up with how my life was, and I said, there has to be an easier and more simplistic way to live life, and a more fulfilling way to live life for me. And so I went on that journey to find out what it is, that lights me up, like what brings me joy. And in my business, I've discovered many components that help me on my journey. And so you are most powerfully positioned to help the person that you once were. And so now I'm on a mission to help others, who are struggling with the same problems that I've struggled with.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think, like, as you said, like, you can always help the person you were. So it's about like really taking the time for yourself, and really like maybe sometimes even like taking the risk, even if it feels scary, to just jump into something new, starting your business or going after whatever your dreams are. So what I would really love to know is, I think many are maybe are also like wondering how you do that. So I know you are traveling a lot, and you've been traveling to so many places, but I know that, and you even mentioned that already, that your values in your life, like really living aligned to your values, is so important. And I know like one of your biggest values is definitely family, like being connected with your family. So how do you manage that throughout your travels and throughout the business? Do you have any tips for people who are like maybe busy or trying to travel like you, but are like maybe afraid of, okay, but how is it going to work with actually still being in contact and having a good connection with family and friends?
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, I think the values are your compass, the values that you hold close to you, and the things that you clearly define for yourself. And so there was a point in my life where I didn't even know what my values were. I never clearly sat down and wrote them down or defined them or explored them. And so I think it's really important to take that initiative and take that step in clearly defining what your values are, because that will ultimately lead you to your North Star. And, you have to define what you want, but I think more importantly, why you want it. And like I had said previously, the how just kind of shows up in your life. And when you try and focus on the how, things don't really end up, falling into place. There's much more difficulty that occurs in your life when you focus on that. So that happens organically. But again, the what, the why, in terms of your values, is so important to get clear on that. And, for me personally, family is a very important value of mine. And, at the end of the day, family is all you have. And for me, I'm blessed to have incredible parents and an amazing sister. And so we live in a world where technology can certainly be a distraction, something that holds you back, something that deters you from completing everyday tasks, that deters you from true happiness, because you sometimes compare yourself to others, or just get lost in all of the information out there. But for me, I try and use it to my advantage. And so, it's important to set up those times and make the time to talk to family or friends, and so, for example, my mom and we love to practice yoga. And so it's a non-negotiable. Every Thursday we get into FaceTime and we do a little yoga for a half hour. And it's really nice. It's not, it's a nice bonding time we have together. I call my dad once a week, sometimes more. We have that time together because, my parents are important to me. And so, your parents may not be as important to you, but I'm sure there are people in your life who are. And so it's important to make that time, whether it be a friend, a grandparent, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, again, whoever that person is for you, make that time, because I think you'll come to the realization one day that you may regret that you didn't take advantage of that time. Maybe if that person's not here any longer or unable to give you that time or space, it's important to take advantage of that time that we have now, because life is so short and it's not promised. And for me, family is a core value, and there amongst others, but I'd say that's the main one that I focus on.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, even like with all the distractions, it's like great that you can actually use, like you said, like you use FaceTime. I use Skype with my parents, so once a week we usually also get on a call, and really like making the time. I think it's also like really important. And also you mentioned about like really finding your own values and not like living those values that are like that you live through conditioning. So how do you actually know, or how do you knew that those are actually like your core values? Like, is there a tip you have for people listening to actually find their own core values? Because like, I mean, maybe people think it's their value, but actually it's not. And then after a while, they notice like, oh, that wasn't really me, So how do people
Yeah.
actually manage to know, okay, this is really my value?
Well, it's trial and error, really. It's getting really clear over time and having these experiences in life where, after you look back, you can really find the distinction and become clear on what it is that you truly believe in. And so towards the back end of our frameworks, we discuss the word integration. And I think this is a really important word because, we may have these experiences. We may think that, our values are clearly stated, but until you integrate what you learn and what you think into your everyday life, and you actually apply it, and you become one unified entity or system, in your life, then that's really the only way to have that all come together, where you're actually living out your values, not just saying that they're your values. You have like values, you have to practice what you preach. If you have a value, you have to live it, or else it's not a value. You have to hold it close to you, and you have to essentially, when a value comes up in your life, you can go one way or another way. You can follow that value and stay true to it, or you can go the other way. And then, then it really isn't a value anymore, is it? if you're not focusing on, okay, maybe honesty is a value of yours, right? And an opportunity comes up where you lie, or, and so these things happen all the time, and doesn't mean that's necessarily a value, but, over time, if you're not sticking to it, then it kind of dissipates, and it's not something that is a value anymore.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I mean, it's I think it's a really great tip, because like you said, like if you don't actually live it, or you don't manage to integrate it in your life, maybe it's not your value. So maybe you can even like put it in that way. So it's pretty easy probably, or it should be pretty easy to actually see and sit down, okay, what is what I actually do in my life, and maybe integrate the values you feel that you don't integrate so much. And maybe then, like you said, if you actually don't live it, maybe it's just not your value, like you're not your own core value.
Yeah, I think, if you sit down and just start writing away and jotting some thoughts down and asking yourself the right questions, I think they end up coming up organically. I think that what are the things that are important to you? I think maybe it's important to even look up the definition of what a value is, right? It's the things that move us, that keep us in line, in check with where we want to go, because the values are going to be different for everybody. And so there's only a couple for me that I really, I don't, sometimes you don't want to have too many. It gets a little, you add them as time goes on, but you want to get really clear on a couple first and get some practice with it. But writing them down, I think most people can sit down and kind of jot down a couple and start brainstorming. I think once the ideas get going and flowing, then you'll have a better idea.
Yeah, totally. Like, even for example, what I did at the beginning, I had 5 core values I put down, and then even scaled it like down to 3. So it's like, I think like maybe 3 or 5. I guess that's a good number, at least for me.
Yeah, for sure.
So, well, I know you are big about personal development and travel, and you already mentioned a bit about your business, how you combine this aspect. So would you actually like to share a bit more of like the travel experience and how you actually combine this traveling with the inner journey of people that they go through?
Of course. So we made a clear distinction in the very beginning. And so, as I had mentioned, I've put together experiences for many different types of people. And, the experiences that we're looking to create now, if you're looking to go to Paris and go see the Eiffel Tower, that's great. And there are so many services out there that provide you the opportunity to go see some really amazing sites and some landmarks, and then, go back home. But for us, that's not the service we're looking to provide. It starts out with a problem where I've seen in the marketplace through the years of not taking our experiences home with us safely, and just kind of leaving them, or maybe putting them in the closet and shoving them away, and not integrating them. And so what I've noticed for myself, friends, and people around me is that when you're traveling, you're more inclined to take risks and step outside your comfort zone and try new things and meet new people and be more adventurous and live your true, authentic self. And then, you come home and you kind of forget about that. You gain all this momentum, and then you kind of go back to living your false self. You go back into the ruts of life. And so I just see a problem there where I have an opportunity to help a lot of people, with different types of frameworks that we're creating in terms of courses, blogs, coaching programs, where we can help individuals live their true authentic selves all the time. And I don't mean all the time, but I think the majority of the time, I think it's fair for us to say, well, why can't I be happy at work? Why can't I be happy at home? It's something where we have this idea as a society that, okay, you have to, go to work, and you may not like your job, but it is what it is. And that didn't resonate with me very well through the years, and didn't make sense to me. And so I've been on this journey to find what it is that nourishes me, and something that I want to go after. So with that being said, we want to take people through this amazing journey, and we'll be in some pretty epic places around the world. And we feel as if travel accelerates the connection process to yourself, others, and the world around you. But it's more of a journey that we take people on, where you learn a lot more about yourself than you have ever known. And we have a curated community of people, of like-minded individuals that we select, where you can essentially go on these experiences. And another form of support is when you come home from them, you have these people that you can stay in touch with through our platform, where if you want to reminisce on some experiences, if you want to stay in touch with people, if you want to grow together, if you want to jot some things down from your experiences and maybe some hardships you're going through now, people are here to support you and help you. And so that's what it's all about: service, helping others. And so when you help others, you take the spotlight off yourself. And so that's the community aspect that we're looking to build to aid people in their journey. And then as I had mentioned, the very important aspect of the integration at the end of the experience is, where our bread and butter is, and which is what we're looking to build out conceptually and visually for people to understand and get a grasp on what it is we're looking to do. But, I feel really excited about all the developments, and especially our upcoming trip at the end of this month. Like, things are just moving in the right direction. We're really excited.
So do you want to share a bit more about the upcoming trip? Or do you want to keep people excited? Guess what it is?
Oh, I'd love to share. Well, we're heading down to the Caribbean at the end of February here. And so I lived on St. John, the Virgin Islands, in 2019 and 2020. And it's an amazing place. What we're doing is I've had a couple team members around me brainstorm, and we chose St. John because it's a place we're familiar with. We know the area. It's a beautiful national park. We've hired different types of professional content creators to come help us with marketing, help us to create content for our clients. And in addition to that, we've been able to bring on a couple individuals who we think will really inspire us. And it's just a pleasure to be around people like this who, we have serial entrepreneurs coming, we have philanthropists coming, we have global speakers coming, we have people who understand what it takes to build 8-figure businesses, and what it takes to take, a mindset and completely revamp it and live and manifest, really, to live the life that you were destined to live. And so, it's a bit of a proof of concept where, we want to build out this experience and prove that it's something that is valuable for people. And then the goal is, over time, to scale out the business model, hire other trip experience leaders around us to run their own experiences. And I think it's a really enriching profession and job for someone to do that. And, with this trip, it's the first of many. We have, starting in June, a trip per month that we're going to launch for the remainder of the year. And so giving ourselves more time with finding clients is something that we're going to focus on. As you know, I gave us 3 weeks to find clients for St. John, and that was a really difficult task, but we made it happen. And, with June, we're heading to Portugal. And so I have some months now to market the service and spread the message and get the word out there and find amazing people who are committed and like-minded and who see a similar vision. Because that's, at the end of the day, the most important part is we want people who agree and who resonate with our message and see the value of it, and that's our mission here.
Yeah, I find the concept really, really amazing, because it's like not just about, okay, I will travel there and take some pictures, and then, like you said, like arrive back at home and go back to the 9-to-5 job, and losing the connection of with some oneself and even the other people. So it's really like a trip where you are really in the moment and mindful, and like you said, maybe also taking some risks you otherwise wouldn't do. So I find that really amazing, because it's for some people, maybe even kind of giving them a chance to kind of reawaken after they have done so many 9-to-5 jobs and living their life and doing pretty much the same every day. So it's kind of really maybe reigniting them to reconnect with themselves, to really reconnect and go on this inner journey. And so was there kind of a trip that actually helped you reconnect to yourself, or something like a trip you remind yourself of that actually kind of changed your life or put you on a really big challenge?
Yeah, I love the word reignite. I'm glad that you said that, because, I think a lot of us have experienced this feeling while we're traveling. And, over the past 2 years, the unfortunate events that have occurred, it's been very difficult for a lot of us to travel. And so I think right now is a really good time to introduce this newfound sense of connection and community and help that is out there and that is obtainable. But For me, a lot of experiences do come up, but I have to say, in this past year, my move to Portugal has been very profound for me, because it's helped to put me on the path of, obviously you never really want to travel on the path of least resistance, for me personally. And so it's made it really difficult for me. There has been a lot of resistance because there's been a lot of unknown and a lot of challenges and obstacles. But, you know, like I said, I personally flourish in those scenarios where I may not know what the next step is, but I really tap into my gut, my intuition, and my resources and my network and my knowledge and wisdom to help propel me forward. And, you know, even with meeting you, it's just been amazing to see that there are like-minded people out there. Because I think at the very beginning, we have these amazing dreams, you know, especially when we're children, we think we could do anything. And we have that childlike wonder. And I've decided to tap back into that and get creative and say, well, why can't I do these types of things? And my point is that when I did take the move to Portugal, I decided that it would be quite scary, but that I would learn a lot through it. It would be a great learning opportunity. And it was a dream of mine. And if I didn't do it, I'd regret the rest of my life. And through doing it, I've met incredible people like yourself, Lisa, international people who, from all over the world, who understand that life is intended to be lived in an adventurous way, perhaps, you know, whatever adventure means to you, right? You are the author of your life, and there are infinite storylines. Find your adventure. It's different for everybody. And for me, I found my adventure, but with the support of others around me, it helped for me to put things into perspective and understand I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who's thinking this or who has these feelings. And so when you make a big leap like that to an international place, from the United States to a place like Portugal, and you live there for a few months and you start to learn more about the people and the culture and the different way of life, you end up noticing that you're not alone. And so I'm just blessed to have people like you that have come to my aid, who just understand what it is that I'm looking to accomplish. And, you know, through traveling in Portugal, I've learned so much about myself in such a short time by seeking help and asking people, you know, running some ideas by people and getting some good feedback and learning that, you know, there are people who would value from this service. And so that helped me with my business and ultimately launching it and having all this happen so quickly. It's been an amazing journey thus far.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see where your journey will take you. So yeah, I would love to ask you like 3 last questions I ask everyone, because it's always like really interesting to see the differences and maybe similarities. So is there a certain motto you have for your life, or like it can even be a sentence or way of living?
I have a couple. One that comes to my mind is, these are all, you know, truths that I maybe similar to values, but one truth that comes to mind is never take yourself or life too seriously. And what I mean by that is sometimes, you know, we don't look at life as a game. And, you know, the reality of it is life can be a game sometimes. And, you know, in my opinion, all the time. But, you know, when life is intended to be lived simply and you're fighting against everything, you know, nothing is aligned in your life in terms of your inside to your out, where your beliefs and your passions aren't necessarily adding up to your actions. You can do one of two things. You can change, and good luck with that, or you can change your beliefs. You can change how you think to align with what it is that you want to do and where you want to go. And so, you know, not taking that process so seriously, living simply and being at ease with where you are in your life, and looking, you know, forward, and not, you know, saying, okay, I have this much left to go, but saying, this is how far I've come, like you've said.
Yeah, I really like that. It's a great point of living, I think, if you really like, yeah, just don't take yourself too seriously, like you said, and like really trying to enjoy life. I think that's really important to actually feel fulfilled in the long run. So Do you have like any favorite resource when you are into personal development? Because I know you're really a lot into like reading books, podcasts, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's different for everyone. Finding what nourishes you is can be a bit of a journey in terms of all of the information we have out there, all the resources in today's world. For me, I've been attracted to Lewis Howes. He has a podcast called The School of Greatness, and I've read a couple of his books. He was one of the first players in the game when it came to podcasts, and I have been listening to it for the last 4 years. And the people that he brings on are always really informative and valuable, and I learned a lot from it. So I'd say the School of Greatness podcast has been really helpful for me through the years.
And last but not least, if you could give something to the people or to the world, like let's say you would have like a magical wand, what would it be? What would you love to give to people?
Inner peace.
Yeah, that's nice. Inner peace is really, yeah. It's amazing if you have this feeling of inner peace.
I think so.
Yeah, thank you so much for this interview and for taking the time. Is there anything else you would like to say to those who are listening? And also, where can they reach you best if they want to take a trip together with you?
Of course, my website's under construction at the moment, but if you visit my Instagram, that's where I spend most of my time. It's at Jesse Terranova, and there's a link at the bottom there where you can find more about me and our many experiences upcoming.
Cool. Thank you so much.